just one without notice, actually, just as I did that editorial on immigration. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Justin, it's good to see Labor saying they're going to muscle up, being very watchful on what's happening when it comes to visas, because they have been rorted by criminals and all sorts of people. But I tell you what, it's a bit rich for them trying to have a slag off at Peter Dutton, because his record on this issue far outweighs anything Labor's ever achieved when it's come to security and immigration.
Yeah, well, while I certainly don't need to stick up for Peter Dutton's record, because there are plenty of people around, including yourself and Andrew Bolt before, who were willing to do that. So, and I'm sure that he'll be doing it every chance he can get as well. But yeah, I mean, look, that's exactly what the government should be doing, and I don't think they should be patting themselves on the back for doing it either. That's the job we put you in for, to protect us against things like that. So you don't get a gold star for it. I'm sick of politicians trying to get a bloody gold star for everything.
Yeah, that's a good point, Liz, isn't it? They're just promising to actually enforce the law as it is, so it's not so spectacular. It's probably what we should all expect of government. And importantly, they're saying nothing really about the overall numbers of migration, which is going to be really the key point in coming years.
Absolutely. That's people's main concern, and it's Labor who are being seen to open the floodgates, despite the fact that we have no idea how we're going to be able to support these people. Do we have ample jobs? More pressingly, do we have ample housing? We all know the answer to that very simple question is absolutely not. Yet we're continually being told we can expect 700,000 more immigrants coming into this country before the end of this financial year. That is absolutely astounding. And again, this is a move that Labor is making, wanting a pat on the back, as Justin has said, when meanwhile we, the everyday person reading about this in the papers, are thinking, you mean to tell me this wasn't already measures in place? You want to be congratulated for doing the bare basics and doing due diligence when it comes to who can come to this country, and you haven't even been keeping us safe on that basic level? Do me a favour.
Let's get to the housing crisis and taxation. I always say there's no problem a Labor government doesn't think it can't fix without a new tax. I can't believe that the solution in Victoria, Justin, is to increase the taxes on undeveloped blocks in an attempt to force people to develop them. And this is going to apply to vacant land all around Victoria now. Is there much of a backlash in Victoria against this yet?
Yeah, it feels like it. And the whole thing has been overshadowed by the fact that the new Premier knew bugger all about it until Tim Pallas opened his mouth at a business breakfast. But I would say this, not just this government, but I think the past few Liberal governments, past few governments in Victoria have never met a tax that they didn't like. I think this one, it seems to be... It's almost as though they sit down in a room and they say, look, where isn't there a tax where we could just shove one on? That's how this one kind of feels. Yeah. That's how many of them seem to feel at the moment. I get a bit of a sick feeling in the stomach when they do that.
Yeah, too much tax. There's never enough tax. Now, the new Premier, Jacinta Allen, though, who's attacked the opposition because they've appointed David Southwick, who we've spoken to many times on this program, as the Shadow Minister for the Cost of Living. And it turns out he owns 17 houses. Here's Jacinta Allen.
Vacant properties is an issue. Some people have 2 or 3 properties. Some people have 9 or 10 properties. Some people
there you go. Partisan politics, don't you like it, Liz? Now, is this a fair criticism of David Southwick, him being out of touch, or is this just the politics of envy?
I think it is the politics of envy. It's not a crime to have an investment portfolio. I'm sure he doesn't own all 17 of them outright. He's probably built it up over a great many years, etc. and so on. It's not a crime to have done well for yourself, but obviously in the socialist state of Victoria, it is a crime. Rich people are a crime in and of themselves. And I'm not sure if I believe Jacinta Allen when she says says that, oh, I didn't know about this new tax that Palace has just announced to the whole wide world. Oh, really? Well, you're the boss, apparently. So if you didn't know about it, why aren't you repealing it outright, saying, oh, no, we're not doing that. That's not a real thing. He jumped the gun. This is all nonsense. Let's not forget it was just last week that Daniel Andrews, the week before last, I should say, that the then Premier Andrews announced the highest short stay tax in the world at 7.5%. So Victorians now, if they're Airbnb-ing a room or another property that they have just to make a bit of money on the side, now the government's dipping into that. I said it last night and I'll say it again, Chris.
Pretty extraordinary.
The Revolutionary War started over a 3% tea tax. And you've got to wonder what has happened to our people, that when these governments are just piling on ridiculous tax after tax, there isn't a genuine outcry saying, I'm a private citizen, this is my private property, you have absolutely no right to manipulate me into doing with it what you want me to do with it.
So we need, we obviously need the Port Phillip Bay Tea Party. That's next on the agenda.